Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the Reptile Barn. I have here 3 snakes, and we're just going to be exploring a little bit about the Blue-Eyed Lucy complex today. These can be, depending on which genes you're working with, somewhat difficult. And so we're looking at 2 today, and then I also have a normal in there just for comparison's sake. The sire of this clutch, among other things, is a mystic Russo. So he's a mostly white snake. He's also an Enchi. He's also Orange Dream. So there's a lot going on in his babies, but I got the simplest ones I could find. Plus, I also pulled a normal from a different clutch just for comparison. So, as you can see right off the bat, the differences are subtle, but definitely there. Right here is a mystic. Now, I've produced a lot of mystics, but it's been quite a long time since I produced a single gene mystic. To me, this looks a little brighter than just a mystic. It doesn't really have an Orange Dream looking head to me. It's not an Enchi. So this is either just a mystic or it could be a flame mystic. The mother of the clutch is a flame, which is in the fire Black-Eyed Lucy complex. So this is either a mystic or a flame mystic. But it's still showing really, really well the characteristics of mystic. Lots of flames, not the gene flame, but the flames on the sides coming up. You can see that. Really nice dark black colors, and that's one of the things I love about mystic. You know, Mojaves, Lessers, even Russos somewhat, they make the entire snake paler, but mystic seems to only make the alien heads and the saddles paler. It doesn't do that to the black part of the pattern. It stays nice and black. So I love the contrast on mystic. By the way, another line of mystic that I believe is exactly the same thing, at least according to the genetic testing place, is phantom. So mystic and phantom are the same thing. I've literally been saying that for 10 years. I've had people swear on their life that I'm wrong, and I now feel vindicated, so I just had to throw that out there because I'm a sore winner. But anyways, so call it what you will. This mystic here is showing that just the classic elements of a mystic. Pretty standard alien heads, although on this particular individual, they all only have 1 eye instead of 2 eyes. But I've produced mystics with the aliens' heads having 2 eyes, kind of like that one right there. So it's not really a pattern mutation at all, as far as I'm concerned. But it does bring the flames up the sides really beautifully, and it brightens up a lot the alien heads and the saddles. Okay, so that's a mystic. Compare that side by side with that normal for a second, and you can see what I mean. Look how much brighter the alien heads are than those, and it also removes some yellow. Now, this normal is not actually a normal. This is a het citrus ghost, so this one is more yellow than most of my normals, but it still allows you to compare and contrast really well with that mystic. So this is a classic ball python. You see the very, very standard pattern with the alien heads with either 1 or 2 eyes, some saddles on the back. Most of the alien heads are not interconnected. Very, very standard snake here. Just a touch brighter than normal because it's a het citrus ghost, but basically, this is a normal ball python. Now, let's pull out the Russo. Russo is extremely subtle. Look at those 2 side by side. So let me pick this boy up. Excuse me. So this little guy, also not really a pattern mutation. You can see that, I'm trying to do this one-handed, sorry guys. Very standard pattern with alien heads. Excuse me, go down. Nothing weird there. I don't know of anything in the Blue-Eyed Lucy complex that really messes with the pattern. A little bit of flames coming up. touch more than you'd see on a normal, probably. As opposed to the Mystic, though, this one brightens the alien heads a little bit, where the Mystic, to me, brightens them a little bit more than the Russo does. And it also brightens the dark part of the pattern a little bit compared to a normal, which the Mystic, in my opinion, does not do. So it actually makes it more subtle because you don't have that big contrast. If you look at the Mystic, there's a huge contrast between the dark and the bright part of the pattern. On this Russo, it's more like a normal, the contrast, because it has brightened both parts of the pattern. So you don't have that huge contrast like you got on the Mystic. Again, I'll try and hold it right next to the normal there, and you can see the color difference. And then let me see if I can get this Mystic to lay next to them also, and you can see all three of them lined up. Mystic on top, then the Russo, then the normal, okay? Notice how their patterns are all basically the same. They all have kind of an earth-toned color palette, but each of these mutations is brightening several shades, especially the Mystic on those alien heads. Again, that's a very bright Mystic. Could be a flame Mystic, which would explain the more extreme flames as well that are climbing from the sides all the way up over the back into some portions. But either way, it's still showing you really well what a Mystic does. In my opinion, all of the Blue-Eyed Lucy genes do fade somewhat as they age. So when these are bigger, they will look more similar to each other than they do right now. However, they're not really used for their own sake. No one tends to build a project around a Mystic or a Russo. They are used to enhance other genes, and they do it beautifully. And of course, they're also used to make Mystic Potions and Blue-Eyed Lucys, which are ever popular, as they should be, because they're amazing. But in all other combos, they're used to add slightly to that combo. You know, they depending on which one you pick, because, you know, Lesser / Butter is also in there, Mojave is in there. They all add just slightly different shades of color and brightness, and often can help hold contrast a little bit as well, again, depending on which one you use. So, most people don't add them into pied because the Blue-Eyed Lucy genes tend to make very, very high white pieds. However, something like a Russo pied makes really crazy heads on the pied, so some people do it for that purpose. But anyways, I just was cleaning snakes, and I kind of saw these three back to back to back, and was like, oh, I should talk about this, because they are subtle, and the more information that gets out there on the internet, the better. I was constantly on YouTube when I first started producing Mystics and Mojaves, trying to tell the difference, because Mystic and Mojave look a lot more similar than any of these do to each other, so they can be very difficult to tell apart. They are different genes, but they're very similar, especially in their single gene form. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave me a comment if you have any other questions about these, or would like to see more of this type of video. I'm happy to do it. And thank you guys for watching. Until next time, we're the Reptile Barn.